In today's Leeds news, red card appeal, Cresswell call-up, McCormick on Leeds' chances, latest on Crewe's international situation, Marc Roca on his time at Leeds, and press conference reaction. Hey folks, Jay here on Friday the 6th of October with your Leeds United news, and we'll get straight into this, and we'll start off by talking about the red card appeal that has happened, and we now have a result on this. As we all know, Pat Bamford was involved with an incident with Asmir Begovic at the 95th minute, I think it was, in the QPR game, where it appeared that Bamford had some small connection with Begovic. Bamford went down, Begovic saw a straight red card for preventing a goal scoring opportunity. However, since then, replays have shown very little to no contact at all between the players, and Pat Bamford came out after the match himself to Gareth Ainsworth and said that there was no contact between the players. There was a reaction that Bamford had when he went down. He jumped up and the hands were in the air. For me, I think Bamford possibly thought he was getting booked for diving in that immediate situation before realising it was actually directed at Begovic. QPR claimed that they would appeal the red card on the basis of both players stating there was no contact, and they can now have confirmed this morning on Twitter that appeal for the red card has been successful, and Begovic will face no further action from the league and will be back available for them this weekend. It should also be pointed out that although Begovic's attempt to win the ball was a slight lunge and a very high foot, the FA rules state that you cannot receive a red card for intent, that there must be contact, and in this situation there was no contact, so the decision has been reversed and Asmir Begovic will face no further action. So despite as much as we think that it was a late tackle, and if Bamford hadn't gotten out of the way, it's still a red card. Unfortunately, the rules state that it is not. Moving, let's talk about Charlie Cresswell, who has been called up to the England under-21 side by Lee Carsley. This is on the back. A surprise, I suppose, with Cresswell playing so few minutes this season. Leeds' defence have been in good form with plenty of clean sheets this season, and Charlie Cresswell, who would have expected to play more time for Leeds, has had to be patient with his minutes. Despite all that, it is great to see Charlie get a call up to the under-21 side. He's been in excellent form for the international sides when he has played, so great to see Charlie Cresswell get a call up there, so best of luck during the game as well for Charlie. Moving on, let's talk about a former Leeds United player, Ross McCormick, who was speaking on BBC Radio Leeds during the game last week or during the night. Basically talking about Leeds' chances of finishing the top two. McCormick was pretty direct with this. He basically went through the whole thing and said that based on Leeds' strength and depth and options all over the park, he would be surprised if Leeds weren't in the mix come the end of the season. He called out Leeds' depth in positions and having more than one option in multiple different locations across the park as a main reason why come the end of the season, Leeds should find themselves sitting in one of the two automatic places. It's a long season. Leeds' current form has been a bit disjointed, but given the summer Leeds had, it's probably expected. So it will be over the next couple of games, and especially after the international break, I think we want to see Leeds build up some momentum going into Christmas and then hopefully tackling it in the second half of the season. This division can change rapidly inside a couple of months. Although Leicester appear to be running away with it, they still have to play Leeds twice, and the teams in second place. Leeds have already beaten Ipswich in second, so a lot of football to be played, and wait and see what happens there. Moving on, let's talk about the situation involving Charlie Crewe. We talked about it earlier on this week that England had potentially made an approach based on Charlie Crewe having English family members. Well, it's Wales under-21 manager Matt Jones has been talking about the situation in a press conference, and he said that he is confident that Wales will keep hold of the Leeds United midfielder. As previously stated, Crewe has been in excellent form this season, playing all 6 of Leeds United's under-21 games, bearing in mind he is still an under-17 player technically. He's also had 2 caps for the Wales under-21 side, and reporters in the area have stated that a senior cap is not far away for the player, who's been brilliant. He has captained the Leeds United under-17 team as well this season. So it's been a really strong start. Jones said that England's approach for Crewe has been aggressive, and that having had meetings with Crewe and with Leeds United, they are confident that the player will stick with Wales. Jones said that he can confirm the approaches made by England are not a rumour, and that England have been very aggressive in their approach of Crewe and other underage talent. He finished up by saying that they're assured that Charlie will remain with them, having had positive meetings with the player and the club, and said that they've done absolutely everything within their control, and they feel fully confident that he will stick with Wales moving forward. To point out, Matt Jones is not having a pop at the England scouting team here. He's basically saying that you've got to admire them, and it is a compliment to see that players that have come through the Wales FA system and other systems like the FAI in Ireland are being considered by a strong nation like England. So There's a compliment in there somewhere, I'm sure. Moving on, let's talk about Marc Roca, and he has been speaking about his time at Leeds United to Marca, as well as other topics, but specifically about Leeds United. Roca stated that he has enjoyed every single minute that he had played at Leeds, and at no point stopped enjoying his time at Leeds. Roca has been in excellent form for Betis so far this season and has bucked the trend of Leeds loanees who have been struggling to get minutes or performances, but Roca has been playing consistently well outside of maybe a dodgy game against Barcelona, but I think you can take the opposition into consideration on that one. Roca has also earned a recall to the Spanish national side as well on the back of his performances. It is unlikely to see Marc Roca play for Leeds United again or be one of the players that might come back to Leeds at the end of the season should Leeds get promoted. Roca has stated that he wants to stay in Spain. Betis and Roca and his agents have talked about having conversations with Leeds already about turning that loan move into a permanent move going forward, which, if it could be done before January, could leave Leeds with some cash, and Leeds may recoup some of the money that they spent here. It might be one of the few occasions where Leeds actually get some money back. In the interview, he said that he never stopped enjoying his time at Leeds United, and commented on the fantastic dressing room that Leeds had during that time, which has been questioned by lots of other places as well. But he also went on to say that it was a fantastic atmosphere and he enjoyed and loved playing at Elland Road. He also pointed out that last season was a season of growth for him in the Premier League, and getting to grips with it after 2 years of not playing a whole lot of football, and that Leeds United gave him an opportunity, and he's very grateful for that. And he said that he has learned a lot during his time there and felt that he connected with the Leeds fan base as well while here. He's still a grown player. He's still a very good midfielder. Maybe he didn't shine last season in a very odd season for Leeds and disjointed performances from four different managers. You can kind of understand some players not getting the grips with it all the time, but doing very well in Spain. Very unlikely he'll come back to Leeds. That's it for the news section of this. We will take a quick break and then we'll do a very brief press conference reaction just after this. I'll see you in a sec. Right, the press conference has just finished, and a very interesting press conference. Daniel Farke, not a massive amount of detail in terms of some bits, but there's some nice chunky bits to get into. We'll fly through this really quickly. We'll start off with Helder Costa has left the club by mutual consent. Daniel Farke confirming that today from Adam Pope's question. He said they were waiting on a solution for a while on this, but they were both very open with him. He talked very highly of Helder Costa as a person and his professionalism as well. Said both sides wanted to move on, and that's now what's happened. He said he wishes him the best of luck in the future, but that this doesn't change or affect his transfer plans for January. There's no extra money coming in from this, so won't change the plans there. In terms of the injuries coming into the game on Shackleton, Rodon was mentioned as well. Missed the game at the weekend with a shoulder problem. Apparently having a lot of pain in the shoulder. He's been carrying it for most of the season, but he's aggravated it to the point where it's causing him significant pain. He will be assessed, and more assessment is needed on him. On Sam Byram, he said it'll be a late decision on this one. But that he's in a better position than he has been previously, playing 3 games in 7 days rather than 3 games in 6. That extra 24 hours, he said, makes a huge difference in terms of sleeping. Also, the time of the kickoff of the game, not having an early kickoff on Saturday as well, also helps the team as well. And he said it helps him get into and he said Byram is in a rhythm at the moment, so it's a much more positive position, but there will be a late decision, as there was on Wednesday with that one there. Jaden Anthony also came in on this as well. He picked up a knock on Wednesday night that we weren't aware of, which is why he came off the pitch, but also he rolled his ankle yesterday in training. He said that he seems okay though. He said he's okay to train, but they're training later on this evening and they will assess him then. But was asked in a follow-up question that you'd be pleased with how his first appearance went, one of the more exciting players on the pitch, and he goes, yeah, he's very happy with it and hopes he's okay, so we'll move on from that. On the atmosphere on Wednesday, it's been an unusual atmosphere and getting quiet at different times. He said, look, when we play 46 games in a season, every game can't be burning the candle at both ends. We've got to be realistic, and there are certain games we'll need to take the pressure off, slow it down, manage the game correctly, which I suppose is fair. It's fair. But he said the fans need to come along with that as well and understand that that's what we're doing and we're trying to achieve something there. And he said, there's that. He said, but in the same breath, he said the atmosphere in Elland Road and the fans, he said these are not just the best fans in England, they're probably one of the best sets of fans in the world in terms of their volume and the noise they make. And he said we'll need them on weekends. We want to create an electric environment in Elland Road on Saturday. The game against Bristol City is a crucial game in terms of our points per game, but very very complimentary to fans, and basically said that we're not going to get this every single game, but it's up to the players to try and excite the fans as well. But sometimes we're not going to be able to do that. Sometimes we've got to be pragmatic about it and slow the game down. That's not going to be to everybody's taste, but it's okay, and it is okay. Asked about was he on track for where he wanted to be this season, he said he doesn't set points totals at different parts of the season, but he said if you look at Bristol City as a game, it's a crucial and important game in terms of getting a win in that game, puts us in a points per game position, but puts us in a very strong position to achieve our goals at the end of the season. Asked about loanee players then as well. Does he keep an eye on them? Has he been watching situations there? He said it's not his position to talk about that. He needs to give 100% of his energy and time to the players that are here right now, and he just doesn't have the energy and time to focus on players that are out. He said during the international break that will give him some opportunity to touch some players that are out on loan, but he said in general, he said it's not his place. He was asked about Sonny Perkins' situation in Oxford and was there an injury there and why is he not playing? And he said that he doesn't want to talk about players that are on loan at other clubs because other managers are making the decisions on those players. He said the same way he wouldn't expect the Spurs manager to make comments on him and how he plays the Spurs players that are on loan at Leeds currently. So he said we need to make sure that we just let them do their thing. And he said it's up to each player to do what they have to do to get into these teams. So the pressure's on them to deliver to get into the team. Asked was he short on options at left back if Sam Byram can't play? He said yeah, we are. He said, but we'll put 11 players out in the pitch who'll all do a job. He said we could look at changing the system, he said, but it's not ideal. If we don't change the system, we'll put someone in there maybe hasn't played a lot of time there, but it's not ideal, but it is what it is. He said it'll be tricky, but he said it's not boring, and football would be boring if it was easy, and this isn't easy. So that point. Asked about the big question, we'll wrap up on this as well. Asked about the Piroe and Georginio Rutter positioning situation. I've talked about it a lot, probably too much at this stage. Just my take on it. And he said if he's honest, he gets the feeling he's having to talk about this situation after every single game, and he understands it. And he said football is full of opinions, and that's what makes it a great game, and he doesn't want to stop questions being asked about it. He doesn't want to stop people expressing their opinion, debating online. So I'm assuming he's talking about all of us. But he said that he'll make a deal with us. He'll explain his full thoughts on the process, and then don't ask him this question again in the press conferences, but you're free to talk about it and debate it offline, outside of things, and online and YouTube and pundits, that kind of stuff. So basically what he said is his first thought on this is it's the best to play the players in their ideal positions, their preferred positions, which is correct. He's bang on the money there. But he said, but that means that if you ask Rutter, Piroe, Bamford, Joseph and Gelhardt, they'll all say they want to play at a striker, and we can't have every single one of them on the pitch at the same time. He said if he's honest, he likes to have 2 or 3 of them on the pitch at any one time because Leeds need goals from other positions around the park. We can't just be relying on one player to get all our goals. That has been the problem with Leeds in the past. And again, he's correct. Secondly, he said their best position differs from club to club and style to style. He said if you look at Joe Piroe scoring 20 goals for Swansea, it's not the same as scoring 20 goals for Leeds. They play differently. If you look at how Swansea played, he would drop deep, he would be a link player, and both wingers would pinch him behind him, and then he would arrive late. That's not how Leeds play, so they have to change that, and trying to find ways of getting him into those deep positions to come through is important. He said there's always different qualities. He looks at it from a finishing perspective. Joe Piroe is probably the best finisher in the league. He said you'll struggle to find a striker anywhere in England who's as good a finisher as him, but that's not the only one. He said on that one, at times he is tempted to play him as the lone striker, but you've got to look at all their qualities all up. And he said when you look at it from a pressing and a pace of pressing perspective, it's probably not Joel Piroe's strongest suit, whereas Bamford and Rutter, that's probably their best attribute in terms of their pressing quickly and pressing high. But he said we have to play to our strengths, and it's not always the strengths of the individual but the strengths of the team, which are important. And he said in this case we have lots of qualities and we just got to pick out which are the best ones for the team. But he said it's also not healthy to talk about Piroe when he scores 20 goals a game singing his praises, and then when he doesn't score goals saying he's being played out of position. It doesn't help the player, it doesn't help the squad, and doesn't help Farke, and he's probably right on that as well. He said if you think about the team, we don't have to win the Golden Boot, we have to win the league. And he said does he care? He doesn't care if Bamford, Rutter or Piroe win the Golden Boot. It's not in his interest. His job is to make sure the team achieve its goals this season. However, he moved on to say that he likes to stay humble, and he makes to make sure that it's about the team and not about him. But in this situation, he's won this league twice, and he knows what it needs and knows what it takes to win this league. He said, saying that I'm not interested in winning the Golden Boot for players, he said, I was a striker. And he said, when I started my career at my club, at a lower club, we had a striker there who won the Golden Boot in his first season. We had to sell him because we were a small club. The striker got to replace him in the second year. He won the Golden Boot. Had to sell him as well. Small club. Third striker, he wins the Golden Boot. He's also sold. He then himself moves on to Dortmund. We had a striker who was out of form and out of the squad. Brought him in. Golden Boot. And he said, then if you look at Timu Pukki, took him from Celtic and having a very bad time at Celtic and not performing at Celtic. Brought him down on a free transfer. Won the Championship Golden Boot 2 in a row. So he said, if you also look at Marcus Thuram, he said he had him, changed him from a winger to a striker and finished second in the Golden Boot in the World Cup for France. So he said, when it comes to strikers, I know my business. And let me know my business. You know your business. It's a fantastic answer. It's a great answer. I'm glad he's given it. I have talked about it an awful lot at depth, but I am glad that we've got that answer from him, and it does settle that one for me, and we'll minimise why we're talking about this going forward, because as he's asked, he's given us a very detailed answer. I'm sure it will come up again, but in the meantime, I respect that. It's an honest, good answer, and I appreciate him giving the time to give that longer, more detailed answer. So there we go. That's going to be it for today, folks. We will have a podcast tonight that will go for members tonight, and then for everybody else tomorrow morning. And then we've got the game tomorrow, and we'll have a match reaction after that game as well. So have a great day. Fingers crossed, 3 points tomorrow. And I'll talk to you later on or tomorrow morning. Have a great day. Talk to you then. Bye.